Hello, dear students. Let's see regarding hormones influencing pregnancy and immunization during pregnancy in our today's class. So, the first section, that is hormones which is influencing during the pregnancy. If you see during the pregnancy, HCG, that is human chorionic gonadotrophin, HPL, human placental lactogen, prolactin, estrogen, and progesterone are the main hormones, or you can say these are the physiological changes happening in the endocrine system of the women during the pregnancy. So, HCG, HPL, prolactin, estrogen, and progesterone are the hormones which are influencing during the pregnancy. So the first hormone, that is human chorionic gonadotrophin. Human chorionic gonadotrophin, it is a glycoprotein where the molecular weight of HCG is 35,000 and it is composed of two side chains. If you're seeing the structure, there are two side chains are there which you will call it as alpha chain and the beta chain. Okay, so this is the general structure of HCG. HCG, it is a glycoprotein with a molecular weight of 35,000 and it is composed of two side chains, that is alpha and beta. Then moving on to the source, from where does the HCG comes from? The HCG, this is a hormone which is produced from the placenta. Okay, so the source of HCG it is normal placenta. And how you can able to determine the presence of HCG? The presence of HCG, it is determined by the biological and immunological assays. Then moving on to the level of HCG in normal pregnancy, in the blood of the pregnant women, it will be appearing from the 8th day of post-conception. So after the woman conceives, from the 8th day of the post-conception, in her blood, we can able to find out the presence of HCG. Normally, the rise of HCG, it will be there between 60 days to 80 days of pregnancy. That is from the 2nd to 3rd month of pregnancy. HCG in the blood of the women will be rising to 120 to 200 international units. And from 120th day, after the 4 months, so it will start to reduce. So fall of 10 to 20 international units will be there by the end of 120th day. Okay. And in case of multiple pregnancy, there is a chance that the normal ranges, that is from 120 to 200 international units, that will be increased when it is a case of multiple pregnancy. So again, I will tell you regarding the levels. HCG, it will be appearing in the blood from the 8th day of the post-conception. We can able to find about 120 to 200 international units of HCG between the 2nd and 3rd month. And from the 4th month onwards, there will be a fall in the HCG, that is about 10 to 20 international units will be, there will be a fall of 10 to 20 international units will be there from the 120th day. And usually in case of multiple pregnancy, the amount will be rising. Then what is the significance of HCG in pregnancy? HCG, it is required to maintain the pregnancy, and the foremost one is that this is the marker for the detection of pregnancy. Okay, so marker for detection of pregnancy means that when you want to diagnose the pregnancy, HCG will be eliminating through the urine, and when we are testing that urine, because of the presence of HCG in the urine only, by the urine test, we will be coming to know that whether the woman is pregnant. Okay. So that is the importance of HCG. HCG mainly to, number one, it is marker for detection of pregnancy, and another one to maintain the pregnancy, we requires the HCG. Okay. So our next hormone, it is human placental lactogen. Human placental lactogen, which is a protein hormone with a molecular weight of 22,000, and the for HPL, that is human placental lactogen, The source of HPL is also placenta. So from the word itself, it is there, human placental lactogen. So the source of human placental lactogen is also the placenta. We can able to determine the human placental lactogen by the radioimmunoassays. What is the level of HPL in normal pregnancy? So no, HPL, it will be appearing from the 6th day of post-conception, and the rise, the peak will be there between the first and second trimester, and HPL, it will be disappearing after the delivery, because you know that, see, once the placenta is out, so there will be no production of HPL, and increased in case of multiple pregnancy. So level, if you are seeing, from the 6th day of post-conception, it will be appearing, and a peak will be there in the first and second trimester. Now, what is the significance or importance of HPL? Always HPL, it is determining the efficiency of placental function. Then it will be providing amino acids for the growth of the fetus. It will also elevates the level of fatty acids, and it is providing energy to the mother. Okay. So what are the significance of the human placental lactogen? One, it is improving the efficiency of placental function. It is providing amino acids for the fetus for the growth. It is elevating the fatty acids in the mother, and also it is providing energy to the mother. So that is the importance of human placental lactogen. Okay. Third one, it is prolactin. Prolactin is also a protein hormone with a molecular weight of 22,000. Now, from where we are getting, and what is the source of prolactin? So prolactin, it is produced from the maternal pituitary gland also, and the fetal pituitary also. Then it will be coming from the decidual tissues also. So what is decidual? It is nothing but the endometrium. So from the endometrial tissues, from the pituitary glands of both the mother and the fetus, prolactin is produced during the pregnancy. What is the level of prolactin during the pregnancy? About 5 to 25 nanogram per deciliter of blood, we can able to find out the presence of prolactin. And maximum, the peak of prolactin, it is about 100 nanogram per deciliter. But if the woman is having hypothyroidism, hypothalamic disorders, or pituitary adenomas, in 3 cases, there is a chance of elevated level of prolactin in the blood of a pregnant woman. Okay. So again, I will tell you what is the level of prolactin in normal pregnancy. About 5 to 25 nanogram per deciliter, which is rising of about 100 nanogram per deciliter. Usually, elevated cases, elevated amount of prolactin can be seen in the pregnancy when the woman is having hypothyroidism, hypothalamic disorders, and pituitary adenomas. Next one, it is the estrogen. So estrogen, they are steroids with 18 carbon atoms, and we can able to find the presence of estrogen with a urine specimen checking or a blood specimen checking. Also, it can be estimated by the radioimmunoassay. And if we are checking the level, rises in the 3rd trimester, and it is reaching to a level of 25 to 30 milligram per day. Okay, so from the pregnancy, starting of the pregnancy, we can able to see very little amount of estrogen, but it is reaching to 25 to 30 milligram per day at the end of the 3rd trimester. What is the significance of this? Estrogen, it is maintaining the fetal well-being, it is maintaining the placental functioning. If the estrogen level is low, it indicates that either the fetus has died or the fetus is having the anencephaly. High level of estrogen, it indicates that it is a multiple pregnancy. So to find out the multiple pregnancy, we can even go for the estrogen checking, estrogen level. And again, if I am telling the significance, it is for the maintenance of fetal well-being, for the well functioning of the placenta, this estrogen is helping. Low levels of estrogen, it indicates that either there is a fetal death or the baby is with an anencephaly. Anencephaly means absence of vault of the head. High level of estrogen, it indicates that there is a multiple pregnancy. So next one, progesterone, a ketosteroid hormone which is contain 21 carbon atoms. Sources in the non-pregnant state, it is produced by all steroid forming glands. During the pregnancy, progesterone, it is coming from the corpus luteum in the first trimester, and placenta is producing the progesterone in the second and third trimester. So during the pregnancy, corpus luteum and placenta, it is producing the progesterone. During the first trimester, it comes from the corpus luteum, and in the second and third trimester, placenta is giving progesterone, or placenta is producing progesterone in the body of a pregnant woman. How we can able to determine it? By the radioimmunoassays. So in a non-pregnant state, if you're seeing the level of progesterone in a female, it is 25 milligram per day. But in pregnancy, the level of progesterone is about 25 milligram per day. Significance, if you're seeing importance, it is mainly progesterone is required to maintain the pregnancy, to support the pregnancy. Cellular immune response to fetal antigen. Then for the smooth muscle relaxation, progesterone is required. For the growth of mammary glands and to keep the lactation in process, in abeyance, then we need the progesterone. Okay. So this is the significance of progesterone. Mainly progesterone is required to maintain the pregnancy and promoting the growth of mammary glands. Also, it is required for the smooth muscle relaxation. Clear? So, hormones which are influencing during the pregnancy, it is main hormone, human chorionic gonadotropin, human placental lactogen, prolactin, estrogen, and progesterone. So, these are the 5 hormones which are influencing the pregnancy. So moving on to our next session, that is immunization during pregnancy. If you see immunization, see, according to the circumstances, there is a need for immunization. Clear? So in these coming slides, we will be seeing, I have divided it into what is the routine vaccine we have taken. If the mother is having exposure, so at that time, what vaccination has to be taken? Then, suppose if there is an epidemic like typhoid or cholera, what vaccination she has to be taken? RH iso immunization for a RH negative mother with a partner RH positive, and vaccination which is contraindicated during the pregnancy. Okay, if you're seeing that measles, mumps, rubella, polio, these all are contraindicated during the pregnancy. So in our further slides, we will be seeing the discussion regarding this. So routine vaccination like TT, vaccination in the event of heavy exposure, that is hepatitis B and rabies, vaccination during epidemics, that is typhoid and cholera, RH iso immunization, vaccination which is contraindicated during the pregnancy. So routine vaccination, tetanus toxoid, TT, all the pregnant women who are not immunized, or if she has immunized before 5 years, she has to receive a TT injection, tetanus toxoid injection. And this tetanus toxoid injection is helping her newborn or preventing the newborn tetanus, and also it is helping the mother to get rid of all the septic abortions or infections which can occur during the LSCS or occur during the vaginal delivery. So tetanus toxoid, it is must that all the pregnant women has to receive a TT injection if she has not immunized, or if her last vaccine was before 5 years. So such women has to receive the tetanus toxoid. Tetanus toxoid, it is given as an IM injection, and the first dose of TT usually at the 24th weeks of gestation. 24 to 27 weeks of gestation we can able to take. But the second dose of TT, it should be after 1 month of first dose. Okay, so 1 month after the first dose of TT, the women can able to receive the second dose. Clear? So if the mother is immunized between 3 to 5 years, a single dose at the 36 weeks can be given. Understood? So routine vaccination, it is TT vaccine only. All the women who are not received a TT or not or before 5 years, if she has received a TT injection, has to receive the TT injection when she is pregnant, which is given as an IM. First dose is between 24 to 27 weeks, and the second dose is 1 month after the first dose. If the mother is immunized between 3 and 5 years of age, a single booster dose she has to receive at about 36 weeks of gestation. Clear? Next, vaccination in the event of heavy exposure. So if the mother is exposed to hepatitis B, or if the mother is exposed to a rabies condition, she has to receive the vaccine. So pregnant mother should take hepatitis B vaccine, but the availability of Energix B20, she can able to take it as a form of Energix B about 20 milligram, or Hepacin B, that is also about 20 gram. These two forms only the pregnant mother has to take. Okay, Energix B or Hepacin B, both are 20 milligram. This is also given as IM, and the first dose she has to receive after the exposure, immediately after the exposure. Second dose she has to receive 1 month after the first dose, and the third dose is after the 6 months. Okay, so this is her time period where she has to receive the vaccine. So first dose of Energix B or Hepacin B is received by the mother soon after the mother if she has exposed to the hepatitis B. Second dose she will be receiving it after 1 month. Third dose she will be receiving it after 6 months. So a total of 3 doses of Energix B or Hepacin B has to be received by a pregnant woman if she has exposed to the hepatitis B. Next one, anti-rabies vaccine. So Rabipur is administered, and the dosage is about 6 doses the mother has to receive. All the dose of Rabipur is about 1 ml. When she has to receive it on the 0th day, that is on the day of exposure. Then 3rd day, 7th day, 14th day, 30th day, and 90 days after the exposure. So on these days the mother has to receive the doses of Rabipur. That is about 1 ml of Rabipur on the day of exposure, on the 3rd day, 7th day, 14th day, 30th day, and 90 days of exposure. If the dog is a known case of rabbit, okay, if the dog is known to rabbit, along with the initial dose of Rabipur, human rabies immunoglobulin 40 international units per kilogram body weight of the pregnant woman has to be administered. Okay, this is only in the case if the dog is a known case of rabies. So if the dog is a known case of rabies, along with the Rabipur vaccine, human rabies immunoglobulin 40 international units per kilogram body weight has to be administered. Clear? Then tetanus immunoglobulin. Suppose if the mother is a case of septic abortion, she has to be administered with injection tetanal and injection tetiglobulin. So these are the tetanus immunoglobulin available, tetanal and tetiglobulin. So if the mother is a case of septic abortion, we have to administer the tetanus immunoglobulin. So these 3 are the vaccines. If the mother is exposed to hepatitis B, anti-rabies vaccine, rabies and the tetanus. Next is vaccination during the epidemics. So epidemics such as typhoid or cholera, we can able to vaccine the mother. If the mother leaves, or at the time of pregnancy, if there is an epidemic, typhoid, typhim single dose of 0.5 ml as an IM can be given. A cholera, if a cholera epidemic is there, so at that time a cholera vaccine, that is Havicaine Instant, single dose of Havicaine Instant 1 ml as IM can be given. Next, the important one, RH isoimmunization. All the RH negative, pregnant negative women with RH positive partners has to receive 100 milligram of anti-D immunoglobulin as an IM injection in cases of abortion or in cases of MTP. Okay, so RH negative women, RH negative pregnant women with RH positive partners following an abortion and the medical termination of pregnancy has to receive 100 milligram of anti-D immunoglobulin. Anti-D immunoglobulin, it is administered as IM. Suppose if the mother has delivered, that is in case of term deliveries, 350 milligram of RH anti-D immunoglobulin has to be received by the mother, and this has to be received within 72 hours following a delivery. Okay, so if you're seeing the time limit is also there, following delivery, abortion or MTP, within 72 hours the mother has to receive the RH isoimmunization, that is anti-D immunoglobulin. Clear? So for which women we are giving anti-D immunoglobulin? RH negative women with RH positive partners. Then vaccines which are contraindicated during the pregnancy. All the live vaccines such as measles, mumps, rubella, varicella zoster of chickenpox. So all these vaccines are contraindicated during the pregnancy. Clear? So if you are seeing, the only vaccine which is safe during the pregnancy, it is tetanus toxoid. That is the routine vaccination which we are taking from about 24 to 27th weeks, first dose, and the second dose is 1 month later. Then vaccination in the event of heavy exposure, that is if the mother is exposed to hepatitis B, Energix B or Hepaxin B can be taken. If the mother is exposed to rabies, anti-rabies vaccine, that is Rabipur, can be taken. And if the mother is exposed, or if the mother is having infection, tetanus immunoglobulins such as tetanal and titiglobulin can be taken. During the epidemics of typhoid and cholera also she can take a vaccine, Typhim for typhoid and Havicaine Instant for cholera. And anti-D immunoglobulin can be received by a RH negative women with a RH positive partners. Clear? So these are the vaccines the mother is safe to take during the pregnancy. Otherwise, all the live vaccines, they are contraindicated during the pregnancy. So in our today's class, we have seen which are the hormones that is influencing the pregnancy. So hormones that are influencing the pregnancy are HCG, HPL, prolactin, estrogen and progesterone. And what are the vaccines which the mother has to receive during the pregnancy? I hope you have understood this class. Thank you.